Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Another Thursday night in the Riverbend. Another sea shanty sing-along underway down at Morrison's Irish Pub until 9 o'clock. And Riverbend Talent on the air. Brought to you by the Mill.Events, Mr. Matt Van Bors of Macias Insurance, and brought to you by Halpin Music Company. The Yacht Rockers tonight at the night market from 7 to 10. We've got the open mic at the Conservatory with Scotty, the Hottie Miller. Case 44, 6 to 10 at Fast Eddie's in Alton. Matt Fogarty already underway down at the Wood River Farmers Market until 7. Joey Miner, 7 to 10 at the Pump House in Wood River this evening. Left Hand Cowboy, 7 o'clock at Bethalto Music in the Park. Soulshine Groove up in Grafton for Grafton Music in the Park. Grove Park in Grafton from 7 to 9. We got Selwyn Birchwood, 7:30 at the Wild E Theater. We've got Butch Moore, 6 to 9 around the corner at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville. Jaybird at the Stagger Inn tonight from 7 to 10 in Edwardsville. Ryan Holting out of the cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon from 7 to 10. Mr. Pat Liston, Mr. Mama's Pride himself, 7 to 10 at Deutz Village Inn tonight in Pontoon Beach. Shaper and Sims underway at the Prairie Inn in Dorsey until 8:30. John Evans underway at George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville until 9. And Scott Marlin has started things off at the Press House. That's the Old Herald Brewery down in Collinsville until 9 o'clock. We also have Fair St. Clair and a list of people performing down there. An indoor stage, an outdoor stage, and all happening down in Belleville. We are talking tonight, we're talking bebop, jazz, cool. What are all the words that are associated with jazz? Right, well, cool is a jazz word, Lydia.
Absolutely.
Oh.
You need to push your start button. It's green. There you go, yeah. No. No, over there. You're the right one. On. Give it a good push.
The red one says on.
Well, I don't know. I'm not over there. You
You
go.
told me green.
Well, I'm colorblind.
Did I press it?
Oh.
You did.
Are
You
you-
guys
can I-
don't have to.
yeah,
do
I
it.
think-
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, you guys are good. It's
So we're
just-
talking
codes,
to
yeah.
jazz people.
Yeah.
Joe Hicks Group, officially.
So classic. So good.
Working title.
No, I think all the work has been done. It's just real creative, and I'm big in that.
You know, we're pretty creative people.
The story behind the name is super interesting because his name is Joe Hicks, and it's his group. So
Yeah.
I
Are you
called
kidding
it
me?
yeah. Yeah, that's some behind-the-scenes music trivia for you. You can bust that out at your next music trivia night.
And I go to a lot of trivia that talks about the Joe Hicks Group, and that's where I end up most nights.
It took me quite a bit to kind of figure it out, but I was really happy with the name after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can tell. I can see it on
Yep.
billboards already.
You know, I
See it in lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have here Lydia, who's the female voice, I guess, or possibly a male voice.
I was gonna
we've been
say.
told.
I don't know about much.
The female voice is Joe Hicks, the high-pitched one.
Oh.
Joe Hicks is a keyboard player,
Sadly.
piano player,
Yep.
Man of many talents.
and he's here with Chris Jarden,
Hello?
who does everything.
Very badly, but yes.
So the Joe Hicks Group is kind of new, you guys were saying.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's on and off. It's not really like a thing we do often, but it's just, you know, I'll have a gig here and there, and I'm like, oh, let's put some people together. So like currently the Joe Hicks Group is just the main two are me and Chris here, but afterward we'll kind of figure out who else wants to play with us and stuff. But yeah, we're playing at Rock The Hops this next weekend, I think. Don't quote me on that.
August 8th.
August 8th, man. We're really excited about it. We got some stuff in the bag that we want to play. And hopefully it goes well. I don't know. We sound good for not hearing each other.
One of the things about jazz groups that maybe, since jazz let's face it, isn't a mainstream sort of performing art in today's society, to realize is that a lot of jazz music is kind of off the cuff. So when we say that we kind of got the group together and threw it together, what ends up happening with jazz groups is that you all know a bunch of songs. So we might all know the song There Will Be Another You. And then we decide to call it on the bandstand that day. So it's less of a type of performing group that's like, hey, let's learn a bunch of Chicago tunes and really, really iron them out. It's we all kind of know how these songs go. Let's get together and jam. So I think the equivalent of that might be something like the Grateful Dead, the Dave Matthews Band, kind of that jam band sort of thing. But it's just that kind of older style music. So when Joe says, put the group together, he's played probably 40 gigs this summer would be my guess, or something like that. Yeah. And each group is probably slightly different, maybe some crossover, things like that. So what you'll get is a lot of things like that, where you have kind of a big pool of musicians that you know and that you play with, and then we decide to get together and run through some tunes. Typically, because jazz guys are in so many musical projects, we usually do our rehearsals via text message, where it's like, hey, learn this tune by this record in this arrangement, and then everybody in the band will put their phone up to their ear as they're driving to the gig and learn the chart, and then kind of go through there. But that's why the group isn't necessarily an established thing, but that's just kind of how a lot of the jazz groups work in the area here.
So 40 different gigs, different groups each time, and I've got not one invite?
Yeah, we just didn't need a male singer, I guess, is kind of the thing.
I mean, you have a female one. You don't.
Yeah, I'm covering that mostly. Yeah.
So okay, no, that's cool. That's fine. I mean, yeah, it's okay.
I'm sure the invite got lost in the mail.
Yeah.
What Joe meant to say there.
Yeah.
I think that's what he
I
was
just thought we
for.
maybe had a stronger bond than that, but no, that's cool. Like that's fine. I don't mind.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
No, I've been busy anyway, so I wouldn't have time for any of that. Yeah. No. I've got the Lydia Hicks Group going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually in that group. Is this a good time to tell you that, Joe?
We've got the Chris Jarden group going here.
We might have to kind of rework some stuff, I think.
Actually, I'm not in the Chris Jarden group.
I've got the Chris Jarden group, and it's a one-woman group. It's just me.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of crowd. We don't get a very good crowd.
My name is good at keeping crowds away.
So. Between your name and my face, it's just not a good combo. It doesn't go over well.
Some folks may recognize your last name, though, Chris, because of your father, Tim.
That's right, yeah. So what's nice is when my dad, Tim, taught in the Alton Music department for 40 years. They didn't even need to change the name on the mailbox. When he retired, I was fortunate enough to step in and start teaching. Nepotism reared its ugly head, I guess, but I've been blessed for the last 10 years to be involved with the Alton Music Department and to get to meet amazing students like Lydia and Joe. We're both in my bands and jazz band at Alton High School, so it's really, really neat. The best thing about being a teacher is stuff like this, is you make lifelong friends that you get a chance to work with well after they're not in the classroom anymore, and I get to see the amazing things that they're doing with their lives right now, which is incredibly cool.
So you noticed
about you.
You noticed something amazing about Joe Hicks?
Oh, well, I don't like to compliment him because I don't like his head to get any bigger. No, just kidding. No, Joe, from the minute I met him, I actually met him back in 2020 during the dark times that I'm not going to mention. Thing that was going on. No.
Yeah.
So I met him and he was going into the 8th grade, and his mom kind of flagged me down in the hallway, and she was like, "Oh, my son loves to play piano and he'd love to do band." And as a band teacher, you hear that all the time. And so one of the things I like to know is like, well, what sort of music do you listen to? And I remember Joe's mom said, oh, he loves the Yellow Jackets and Bill Evans and Oscar Peterson. I'm like, oh, those are names that I'm not accustomed to a middle school student enjoying. So I knew basically the second that I heard about him that he was kind of in a different gear. And the first time I heard him play, I went over to a rehearsal that Peter Hussey a fantastic music educator in town at Lewis and Clark College, put together a little group of high school students. What was it, the Jazz Confluence?
Sadly,
That's a good name. No, I like that name. I like that name.
It's better than one I've heard today.
It should have been the Joe Hicks Jazz Confluence, and I think that's where the rub is, but that's fine. But I was at a rehearsal at Pete's house, and I remember they were playing a song called Freddie Freeloader, which is an iconic Miles Davis tune. Miles, of course, from Alton here in town. And there's this really, really great piano fill that, was that Bill Evans on that one?
I think it's
Or is it, what's his name?
Kelly. No,
Or is it Wynton Kelly?
I think it's Kelly.
So there's
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, sorry, I have a jazz degree. Sorry, Jason Swagler, if you're listening right now, you can go ahead and turn it off and discuss. But so there's a great little piano fill that he does on the recording, and the first thing I heard Joe when they played the tune was he played that same line. So it's like, okay, this kid likes this music, he knows this music, and he's the real deal. And from there, it's just been years of a lot of fun. Really, really a joy to get a chance to get my butt kicked by one of my students, which he does frequently, and it's just been super great. So to answer your question, yes, for sure. The first time I met Joe, it was just immediate, like, wow, this kid's got it.
And eventually then he invites you to join the Joe Hicks.
For now, I've made the cut. We'll
Okay.
see. That remains to be seen. We'll find out after Saturday whether or not I made it. But,
Well, I think Jill mentioned there's no one left but you at this point.
Yeah.
right. Sometimes success is being the last man standing.
So what do you got planned for August 8th, Joe?
Well, we didn't want to do like a conventional, just play a bunch of standards type stuff. We don't want to play, the usual stuff. We kind of went to more of a fusion approach. It's going to be more a whole different types of music. We're going to have, I guess, more modern kind of ideas going around. I've been really blessed to be playing with a lot of different groups recently and just hearing a bunch of different types of music, and real blessed to kind of throw my hat in the ring about all that type of stuff. Not just jazz, but more just pop gigs, more folk gigs, stuff like that. But since I thought, this is mostly an indie rock kind of place, we're gonna try to throw in some kind of fusion, trying to change it up instead of just like boring the crowd in a little bit with some standards. But you can expect more modern sounding stuff, which I'm kind of excited about because I don't usually play that type of stuff.
Okay.
One of the things too about jazz that's so unique. This is the teacher in me. Sorry, I'm gonna try
No,
to
go
educate.
ahead,
Bear
go
with me. Jazz originally kind of found its audience by taking show tunes that were popular during the era, like the 30s, the 20s, the 40s, and then reharmonizing them and then putting improvised solos over them. So the pop tunes of the time were the show tunes. So what Joe's talking about is taking a song, like for example, one of the tunes he threw out there on the set list is a song called Black Cow by the band Steely Dan, which is a fantastic group. If you haven't listened to Steely Dan, you should, because they're killer. But we aren't going to be like a cover band and try and play that tune, particularly as a four-piece group when there was like probably 20 people on that record. But we're going to take the song and put kind of a unique spin on it, maybe reharmonize it. Probably not, because Steely Dan's super hip anyway, but some sort of spin on it, and then a lot of improvised solos. So when Joe talks about fusion, that's kind of the idea of taking rock music and jazz music, and they call it fusion because it's a fusion of those two styles.
Right, and feel free to educate all you want. That's something we have been doing for going on 10 years now.
Very cool.
And it's kind of the point behind the interviews is to give the younger musicians a chance to tune in and learn from guys who have been through the ropes and learned some things along the way.
Very cool.
And so no problem there.
Sweet.
So do you got a group set up? Do you got actual players ready for this show? Or
Oh, yeah,
you're gonna
we,
just call them the day of the show?
My good friend Josh Lass, a fantastic bassist from the St. Louis area. I met him at SIUE. He's gonna be becoming a TA, a teacher assistant this year for SIUE, which is real. It makes me happy because I'm gonna see my friend for another 2 years or whatever. But he's going to be playing bass for us. He's amazing at what he does, and I'm very thankful to have that as an option. And just, I'm very thankful for him as a person. Our drummer is I don't know if you know him, Owen Weber.
Oh, yeah.
From the band Olive, and he's a fantastic, musician. He's actually a jazz drummer, which he sounds just like Elvin, just love him. But he's doing more stuff with Olive. But me and him are good buddies, and I asked him if he wanted to play some drums for this because got to know him, got to play with him a bunch over this past year, and he said yes, and I'm very blessed to have him playing with us. He's a great dude, great personality, very reserved, but also he has a certain intensity that I think is needed. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, yeah. And you made a good point that it's mostly an indie festival.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, I don't think anyone plays covers in this. So doing something, improvisational is
Some
probably
Chris
perfect.
Jarden compositions.
Ooh,
There you go.
I was actually about to ask you that.
Oh, on the air. Oh, man, this is a high-pressure situation.
We may bring a couple originals in.
I've got some
Chris.
stuff you guys can
Chris here is one of my favorite writers.
Thank you.
I played a bunch of his stuff in high school, and even if he wasn't on the gig, me and buddies would play that outside just because of how great his music is. His music is always very happy, has a lot of spirit that I enjoy.
It matches the dark energy of my soul.
Yeah.
That is exactly how I would describe you.
Right.
Very happy. There's a tune that I remember when I was a little freshman. It was called Frog on a Log. And it's one of my favorite tunes to even just mess around with, as a warm-up or whatever. Just
That's a throwback.
Oh, you played that one too,
I
didn't
did.
you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say I played it. I was there, and it sat in front of me.
And, in Alton, I guess we had this little culture of jazz musicians or, just musicians. I wouldn't say jazz musicians per se, but just like people who just, love playing music together. And we had this little thing after school, we'll just play. And that was kind of like what we kind of built, it was this kind of Chris Jarden brought in a tune. We played it. We kind of ultimately loved the tune, And there's a bunch of other tunes from Chris that I enjoy so much. But
Thank you.
that tune, there's a tune called, was it Indoor Blues?
Oh, yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that tune. And it's all of Chris's tunes too, which I enjoy so much about it. They're very simple in terms of the melodies are simple, but they're super catchy, and there's just a little bit there for me to be like, okay, this is hip, This is something that, catches the listener's ear.
One of my favorite singer-songwriters is Sting, and one of the things he talks about in his songwriting process, he calls it surprises. And then there's a great jazz educator, his name is Jerry Coker, and he talks about the audience likes to be right 80% of the time. Because if the audience is right 100% of the time, your song is cliched, it's boring. If the audience is right 0% of the time, your music is too complicated and they're confused and they want to go home. So trying to, kind of like you're talking about, peppering in just a little bit where it's like, okay, the predictable spot to go would be here. I'm going to sidestep for just a second. And then kind of go a different direction with it, is one of the things that I've tried to incorporate when I sit down and actively try and write music. But I appreciate the kind words. And the coolest thing about it is once you write a song, I think Ed Sheeran said this, and he's a brilliant songwriter too. It's not yours anymore. It's everybody who gets to play it. So what a joy that even, a couple years removed from my school band, 2 of my students still remember my song, and even just by title. That's the coolest thing about it, and that's the power of it. And then you can take it and run your own thing with it, and maybe you'll put a spin on it, and I'll hear it later and be like, oh man, I'm mad at him because I wish I would have thought of that substitution or something like that. But that's the beauty of this stuff and how it kind of connects us and brings us together.
And plus, the more you listen to that type of stuff, like a lot of my writing and a lot of the stuff I put my time into stems from him and how he wrote. I kind of subconsciously try to write like that because that's the stuff I'm into, And that it's you kind of focus on what you're really into at the time. Like right now, I'm really into bebop, so I'm not writing per se. I don't do much writing right now, but I'm trying to play more like bebop or whatever. But when I was writing at the time, I was listening to Chris's music a lot, and that wasn't, I have recordings or whatever. It's just like you'll subconsciously just hear this stuff, and you're like, oh, I want to try that. And there's days after school, me and him would just talk about it, and he'll show me stuff he was working on and stuff, and I'll try to incorporate that into my playing, which is the beauty of this music. It's like you'll hear something, and if you have enough of a will, you'll try to figure it out and then try to incorporate it to stuff you're doing. So every day is just a little bit, you're trying to get a little bit better.
Yeah. On that topic, another teacher moment here. Joe and I really like a musician named Jimmy Webb, who was a fabulous songwriter from the 1960s. Fifth Dimension, Up and Away was his first big hit. Wrote a bunch of tunes for Glenn Campbell, the Wichita Linemen, Moon's a Harsh Mistress for Linda Ronstadt, whole bunch of just wonderful compositions. And what he talked about in his songwriting process is kind of what Joe was describing there, is he would hear a song at the time on the radio, and his homework would be, I'm going to take that song and I'm going to write it, but I'm going to make it better. And because Jimmy Webb's a genius, he's able to do that. When I'm writing, or the few times that I've sat down over the last couple of years, just because being a full-time teacher, it's tough to find time to, because it's a process. It's a long haul. But what I've found is that usually I'll hear another tune and something strikes a chord, and I'm like, I want to capture that vibe. I want to capture that feeling. And then as opposed to Jimmy Webb, his songs ended up better. Mine are like, okay, mine's like the Kmart version of this particular tune, or whatever it happens to be. But that is so powerful, and I think it's better than 1,000 hours worth of practice. That 5 seconds of inspiration.
Oh yeah.
I think is really, really empowering as a musician, for sure.
So, Joe, where'd you get your start in music? What got you interested in music? Was it a family member or something like that?
Well, my family doesn't do much music. I'm the only kid who is really musical, and that's not even my close family, but most of my family itself wasn't too musical. I have a cousin. Half my family's from Fiji, and I have a cousin who does piano, but I don't keep in touch or whatever. But I guess that was the only kind of thing, part of my family. But I kind of got my start. I guess when I was about 8, I started playing, but I didn't really take it seriously at all. It was just more of a thing to goof off on. I'm not much of a reader, never been. And so I would just listen to my biggest, one of my favorite bands of all time were the Beatles. And so I love the Beatles. That was one of my favorite writers. Paul McCartney and John Lennon, the most ultimate melody makers of all time. They have the most catchiest melodies, and the same thing of what we were talking about. There's a little bit in there for the audience to be like, oh, that's new. There's something there, right? And there's a ton of Beatles songs that do that. But I would transcribe these Beatles songs and play them on the piano, and I that's how I kind of got my start. And then eventually the Beatles went to Pink Floyd, and the Pink Floyd went to a bunch of other stuff. But eventually I kind of stumbled upon this jazz thing, and I started listening to a bunch of that because I was trying to get into all that, oh, what is he doing here? What is he doing here? Because a lot of jazz is very, you're trying to figure it out, per se, and it's a very, you have to be very into the music, per se. You have to have your brain fully on to try to understand this story that they're trying to tell. Because that's the music, really. It's a story. So I kind of start getting to that, start transcribing a lot, start doing that stuff. And my dad, this is going to be a shout out to St. Louis Jazz Club, Jazz U, that program. My dad found that program, and I eventually got into there, and that really kind of boosted my thing. And over the years, I was really lucky to have Chris Jarden as a teacher, as
Thank you.
He was. He's one of my biggest influences, really, not even as a musician, but as a person, too. He's one of the most nice, most humble, most amazing people I think anyone could ever meet.
Well, thank you. I'm surprised you turned out so good, despite me being one of your influences.
And I'm just very blessed to have that type of opportunity, and I'm very blessed to know all these people. I don't think I'm much of a person who tries to go reach out for the gigs or whatever. I'm always like, I'm wherever life takes me, I guess, and I'm very lucky that life taken me on this path so far with Chris.
So where was the piano at and all this that you first got to play?
Well, what do you mean by that? Like, where was?
Or was it a keyboard, a little Casio miniature keyboard?
It was this really. I still have the piano. It's this really crappy upright.
Okay.
And it was. I mean,
I'm sure Helping Music delivered that.
No, it came with the house.
I was just trying to get a plug of our sponsor.
Shout out to Halpin.
Yeah. So where was this piano though? Was it in your house?
In my house. It came with the house. The original owners of the house. I live right up. I live on Henry Street.
See, so Halpin probably did deliver.
Yeah,
that piano.
maybe.
They've been around that long.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And they it's this really crappy upright, and I still have it to this
Yes, he does.
day, and it's I mean the black keys are the wood's rubbing off now, so every time you play it you can have like black hands basically on your fingertips or whatever. And so I started playing that, and I mean it's not a great piano, but it's something that I would still play time to time just because that has a lot of memories to me.
Is it out of tune?
Actually, I tuned it just this summer. I was trying to get into piano tuning, and I did an okay job, but it was not tuned for maybe 10 years.
What's funny is sometimes I've found that the out-of-tune pianos feel a little bit different than the in-tune ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really kind of an interesting thing. Sometimes I get used to how it sounds like some of the keyboards in the Alton School District will go out every now and again, but I have fun practicing those too.
It stretches your ear a little bit too. You kind of start hearing different stuff. Also, there's a beauty in like a different feeling keyboard or piano or whatever, just because that kind of gets you to play differently, Like I play with Kendrick Smith Wednesday nights at the Blue Strawberry, and they have this nice baby grand there, and that makes me play differently. I enjoy playing that one a lot. But so just different keyboards and different pianos and stuff always kind of makes you feel different.
Nice.
And I wonder how Chris Jarden got his start. Who inspired him to
Do
get
you-
into music?
Do you even remember not playing an instrument?
I have vivid memories as like a 3 or 4 year old hearing trumpet in my house,
Right.
Because my dad, So music has been around me as long as I can remember. My mom plays the piano and sang for years and years, so it's one of those things I can't fathom not having music like around my life. It was just kind of something I was born into, and I developed the love for it too. Not that I was ever forced into it either. I don't want to set out like that precedent or anything like that, but it was just one of those things that I was so enveloped in it as a kid, and it just kind of stuck, and I lucked out that was the thing that I was exposed to early on, and here I am.
And how about you, Lydia?
Got some music in my blood too. I'm a little more tone deaf than the rest of my family, though. I don't think I was quite as born into it, but well, I mean, my dad. He's
I've heard of him.
also a little tone deaf, but he
Yes.
tries. He's off in Wisconsin doing a music festival right now, running sound
that's
for it.
going on this weekend, huh?
Yeah, I don't
So
remember the
there
name
you
of
go.
it. I don't listen when he talks most of the time, but he talks a lot, so it's kind of hard to listen.
I've noticed. So, no, I just had to throw one at you. What do you got for him? You got any questions? You're supposed
They're
to be helping
answering
me.
them all again.
Oh, wow.
They answer them all. I guess my questions aren't very hard hitters. I'm not very good at this. All those years in journalism did
Really
nothing.
paid off.
Yeah.
I spent too much time watching Hairspray for free on YouTube instead of paying attention.
Hairspray's a great movie, though.
It's my all-time favorite.
And Zac Efron is criminally underappreciated. I love his performance in that. It's really, really good.
And Mom Travolta is what we call him.
So good.
I left my iron on.
So good. One of my favorite Edna Turnblatts is his name's Michael Ball, and he was the 10th anniversary of Les Miserables over at like West End, and he was Marius in that production, and he later sang Edna Turnblad as well. Sorry to hijack
beautiful.
the interview.
No, it's all good.
I love it.
It's just a fantastic show.
It
really,
brings
really
me
good.
so much joy. I rewatch it every couple weeks.
Nice.
Just watched it for my birthday.
Nice.
This is way more focused interview than normal because our dad's not here.
Nice.
And he'd be telling us stories about who knows what.
The same stories we've already heard a million times.
And I'd have to say, we're talking to the Joe Hicks Group about their upcoming performance at Rock The
Gotta get a
Hops
recap going.
on August 8th. And which venue are you guys at?
Post Commons.
That's right.
Beautiful. Good
Yeah.
News Brewery. Love it there.
Yeah, very. I like the food there.
I love the workers there.
So I remember that room being a lot of reverb in there. So that
sure.
Yeah.
should be good for a jazz group, I would think.
Really great from a flugelhorn trumpet player perspective, so I don't have to bring a PA or a mic. So
Right.
it makes
Yeah.
for a quick load in. And for jazz, I've always thought the more acoustic stuff sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I like just that room sound is really, really nice. I'm not like anti, electric keyboard or electric bass. Things
Yeah.
like that are totally fine. But when you get like the big old festival set up with a jazz
Yeah.
group, sometimes it can feel a little different. Not even necessarily bad, but just different.
I would totally agree with that. I hate kind of going electric on a lot of stuff. Even a keyboard feels different than a piano or whatever, but
Sure.
just like the whole band setup, you miking everything and kind of getting that whole spiel is it makes you play differently,
Yeah.
because your sound, the ears are not adjusted to that.
Especially as a trumpet player, when I have to rely on volume, it's sort of like as a teacher trying to raise my voice to control a classroom, as opposed to they're listening and I can just use, regular speaking voice volume. I can be quite a bit more expressive with my voice when I'm talking like this, as opposed to if I'm shouting, which sometimes those big electric sounds, which is super cool too, and that
Yeah.
can be really fun. But for a true kind of jazz gig, which this one is going to be, at least in the sense of it's going to be improvisational, maybe not necessarily the lit, maybe not necessarily the songs that we're going to play are true jazz gigs, but the spirit of it will be there, and I think that would be conducive for us to have.
So you
this.
got an acoustic piano for this? then?
No, I'm actually
Nope.
I'm gonna bring a keyboard, but well, I guess
I was going to say loading in a piano.
yeah. Oh,
There.
No, I could never.
We'll just strap it on Joe's back.
Yeah.
Get up those steps, huh?
Put it on the Lexus.
No, my Lexus is
no
gone.
tires,
Did
no
you s-
windshield, no seats.
But a piano.
Yeah, well, of course. Like those cartoons, it falls on Joe's head.
Right.
Thank God.
Steps out like an accordion.
Oh, I love.
Your
You guys
teeth
have
turn into the keys.
Do you guys have an accordion player?
Thank God, no. I kid. The accordion is a great instrument.
don't know about
Not
that.
for this setting.
Are
I
you
don't
guys
think.
looking for one?
Do you play the accordion?
No, but I could learn. I could figure it out. I am well versed in the kazoo.
Joe and I are going to talk about that, and
Yeah,
we'll
okay,
get back
yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
I
We'll
think
think about
August 9th. We'll
Yeah,
get back
well,
to you on
yeah,
August
yeah.
9th, and then we'll be in good
Oh
shape
yeah,
there.
for your bigger gigs,
Right.
you got to come
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
You'd have to, I'd cost too much for Rock the Hops.
Fair enough.
So you guys are doing Rock the Hops at Post Commons. Any other upcoming gigs that I can play? I mean, just in general.
Since you're volunteering to play, actually everything got canceled off the books.
Yeah.
Wow, this keeps happening. I'm wondering what the correlation is there. This is like the fourth time that's happened. It's like I asked people to come over to my house and they all cancel.
Oh.
I text Joe Hicks a lot and he cancels.
Mm.
Oh. No.
So-
Oh. I think you might have me blocked.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
forgot
that's
about that.
awkward. Upcoming gigs?
As of right now, not with this particular group. I'm always trying to find places to play because
Like
I love to play. I would
August 29th.
Oh yes.
The amphitheater.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
shameless
yeah,
self plug.
yeah.
Oh, fun. Yeah, no, I'll talk about that. So I'm in this Billy Joel and Elton John tribute with immensely talented singer John Gore and Louis Michael, Peter Hussey, Waylon Schroeder, just fantastic musicians. The whole band is just wonderful. But we're playing at the Chesterfield Amphitheater in Chesterfield, which is incredibly cool venue. I've been there a couple times this summer as just a guest.
Okay.
And just a beautiful, beautiful area. Great stage, great
See,
vibe.
that's not the amphitheater I was thinking of.
Oh.
I was thinking of the Alton Amphitheater, the 100th anniversary,
Oh, wow.
honoring Miles Davis' birthday.
That would
The
be
Alton
awesome.
Jazz and Wine Festival. Are you going to be a part of that?
As of right now, I haven't heard anything
Okay.
about that.
He's
I don't
not
know.
invited.
You've gotten called about that before.
I've gotten
but-
called. I haven't heard anything about that. I'm possibly going to be doing something there, but it's all under wraps at the moment. I don't know.
He's got NDAs.
Yeah.
I've got a gig that day, so.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm free.
I know you played those
Played a
events
tuba.
before, right, Chris?
I have, yes.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if maybe this year you're
Yeah,
in it.
as of right now, haven't heard anything.
Okay,
but-
well, I got the list here. It's Casimir Taylor's
Oh, he's wonderful.
100 Miles tribute,
Yep.
and then the Playadors.
Okay.
Heard of them?
I'm not familiar.
And then Butcher Brown. is
Oh,
gonna
what,
be there.
really?
Jazz singer.
Very cool.
Yeah, so
I'll be playing that.
you might still get a call. I mean,
Fingers crossed.
don't get
Yeah.
upset. I mean, it'll be fine.
No, they have Casimir. I'm cool to just listen.
No, I just wasn't sure if you had played
Yeah.
that in the past. What about the Bud Summers tribute concert on October 11th?
Yes, yeah, that one, my high school jazz combo will be there. So those folks are just wonderful. A lot of connection with the Porch Cafe band here in town. Jason McAtee, Levi McAtee, Britt McCarty. Wonderful, wonderful people. And they have been so generous with my jazz band. They offer a scholarship every year.
Yep.
And will purchase a musical instrument for one of my jazz students. So they've done it 2 years now. The first one went to this kid named Joe Hicks. I don't know if you've heard of him or not.
Yeah.
And
a
probably
bum.
that keyboard you're playing at
Yeah.
the gig, right?
Yeah, it's the same one.
So they hooked him up with that keyboard. And then a very dear friend of mine who's one of my students, Quinn Halliday.
Oh, classic.
Classic,
Yep.
yes.
That's throwback.
Yes, and she's a wonderfully talented trumpet player, but she wanted to learn how to play the bass guitar, and so they hooked her up with the bass guitar. So it's really a win-win-win situation for me because my students get awesome equipment provided by awesome people for free. And then one of the trade-offs is they ask that we play at the Bud Summers Festival. So we'll probably do a 20-minute set or so that day. With the Alton High combo, you never know what you're going to get because it kind of depends on the student's schedule. I've had it some years where it's like, oh, I know so-and-so will be able to be my whatever instrument they play, but then they get a job and have to work on the days that combo rehearses. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I can't provide specifics of who's going to be in that group, but I will be there that day with a bunch of high school kids, and we're going to have a lot of fun playing
And
music.
Just to catch people's up, the Music Foundation for Bud Summers, they gather money at that show to get instruments for the kids.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
yeah.
between-
Wonderful, wonderful thing, and God rest his soul. Bud did so much for music in the area here, and it's great to see that his memory is being honored by such wonderful people.
And while we're on the subject of upcoming gigs, how about September 4th? Out of Bakers and Hale, are you going to be playing with
yeah.
Jason McAtee?
And you've done your homework. Yes, sir.
Good.
You were easy. He's hard to find stuff on.
Yeah.
Although
He's
I've
too
got a
niche.
big question for him.
Oh, nice.
I'm saving it.
I'm excited for that.
Me too.
Yes, so September 4th, Bakers and Hale. I'll be playing with the Jason McAtee Band, which is always fun. I kind of do a dual role in that group. I play piano, and then I'll pick up the trumpet and play some horn parts,
Okay.
too. Jason is just a joy to listen to. Tremendous bass player, tremendous vocalist. He's one of the best singers that I've heard just in general, let alone locally. And just a wonderful guy, too. That last gig we did was so fun because he reached out to me on Facebook over Messenger because that's how the pros do it, obviously.
Right.
But no, that's actually how I've gotten most of my gigs, is through DMs on social media, which is fantastic. But it was one of those where he's like, hey, I got this gig coming up in like a week and a half. Do you want to play it? And I was like, heck yeah, man. We hadn't played together in a super long time. And then we didn't have time to practice before the gig. So we got there. Waylon Schroeder played saxophone. Have you ever met Waylon before?
I have, yeah.
Nice. He's wonderful musician, fantastic teacher. I love that guy. But we get there, and we're just kind of talking. We're like, hey, we're going to play it by ear and see how this thing goes. We had obviously listened to the set. And it was a lot of fun. It was as close to jazz as rock music can probably get, because we still kept the forms of the tunes, but it was one of those like, I don't know what the record does here, but this is what I'm going to do right now. And it ended up working out really, really fun. And it was a very, very great, very, very great night. So we're looking forward to that.
Cool. And at this point in the show, what I need to do is I need to mention our sponsors. I mentioned Halpin Music, which I'm sure you've worked with them quite a bit with the students, because they provide instruments for the students.
Absolutely.
And rent instruments to the students, so that makes a good deal to where a kid can try something out, and if you don't like it, take it back and get something different.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've just been a joy to work with through the years, always quick getting repairs back to us. Wonderful people, wonderful service. They're awesome.
And I wanted to let you know that you mentioned Sting earlier.
Yeah.
So our other sponsor, the Mill.Events, is having a group called King of Pain on August 15th.
Cool.
Down at the Mill in Granite City.
Okay.
So a police tribute.
Nice. That'd be a hard one to pull off.
That's what awesome. I was about to say. Yeah, so wanted to let you know that. And our other sponsors, Matt Van Voors of Macias Insurance, and what they like us to do is kind of go over what's happening this weekend. So if you guys will bear with me just a minute, I'm going to run down a list of everything that's going on locally here around the Riverbend. We got Pickin' Daisies on Friday night down at the Flock Food Truck Lot. We got Denver Wade Trent at 1:30 and Exit 52. 7 o'clock at Fast Eddie's. We got Raised on the Radio, 7 to 10, out of Bakers and Hale and Godfrey. And I urge you strongly to go check out Raised on the Radio. Have you guys ever heard of this group?
I've heard the name, but I haven't heard them.
Well, they're from Missouri.
Okay.
And they've all just graduated high school.
Oh, wow.
And they kill it.
Yes, I have seen them on Facebook. Yeah, they're wonderful.
Yeah, so they're going to be right here in our town, out of Godfrey, Bakers and Hale.
How cool.
Yeah, and they were just mentioning on their Facebook page that, they're all going to different colleges. And they're going to do their best to try to keep playing shows, during their off time. So what I'm suggesting to people, this may be a rare occasion to catch them with them getting as busy as they're going to get, as you guys all know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Starting college and stuff. So get out there Friday night and check them out. Money shot out at Roper's Regal Beagle. We got Cree Rider up at George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville. The Beat Drop Brothers doing karaoke.
Nice.
7 to 10. See, I thought it was a jazz group at first. That's their karaoke name.
That's awesome.
They're doing the Bloody Bucket Saloon, Outlaw Opry, and Friends at the Grafton Pub. We got Rock Bottom down at Joyce Village Inn and Pontoon Beach. Cody Galloway, 7 to 10. At Pavia's Place in Granite City. We got dinner and comedy show with Tim Loss and special guest Luis Arellano. I hope I said that right. 6 o'clock. Show 7 to 9. And that's at the Ambets in Madison. Zach Rayner. Bunker Hill at Red's Tavern. Salmon Creek out at Wiggler's and Holiday Shores in Edwardsville. And Jimmy Griffin and the Incurables. 8 o'clock at the Wild Eat Theater. Jimmy Griffin is El Monstero guitarist. Yeah. Pete Creeshock Project doing backstage in Edwardsville on Friday night. We got Mo Pleasure doing Big Daddies in Edwardsville. Jeff Chapman at the Stagger Inn 5 to 8 and Short Miss Duo at the 1818 Chop House in Edwardsville. Strangers 7 to 10 at the Moose in Edwardsville. And Schaefer and Sims at the Cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon. At Pops and Sajay, we have the worst ever, a tribute to Limp Bizkit.
Nice.
Yeah. I saw this on Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
they really want me to go.
Are you a Limp Bizkit fan?
As much as any normal person is, I think.
Super fan?
Yes, of course.
I love it. The worst band ever. Butch Moore, 5:30 at the Legion in Collinsville, all on Friday night. And there's a whole bunch more going on. I'm just kind of staying in our area and switch over now and we'll check out what's happening on Saturday night. We got Troy Taylor back in action. He's doing a dinner and spirits. Lizzie Borden, the topic. And you get dinner with that at the Oddities Museum right here on Piasaw and Alton. Naked Soul 1:30, Yacht Rockers 7 o'clock at Fast Eddie's. And remember the Yacht Rockers down here at the night market tonight. Forest Fest is happening. That's the Harmon family and friends. Legendary bluegrass group, and they are playing with some of your friends. Porch Cafe.
Nice.
8:30.
Very cool.
And that's at the Woodlands Golf Club. Tanglefoot at Bakers and Hale on Saturday. You know this?
I do.
Yeah. Are these probably some of your students?
Tanglefoot in particular, Waylon Schroeder and his brother Ben used to play in that group.
Okay,
so I
yeah.
met a few of those guys through them.
We got Hollywood 5, 8 o'clock at the Pump House on Saturday. Cabin Fever, who we just seen out at the food stock, Lydia.
Yes.
Which gives me a chance to bring up that guess what I got to do
What's that?
on Saturday? I dunked Lydia.
Oh,
I was
that's
in a dunk
fantastic.
tank.
wow.
It was awesome. It was kind of hard to get out of though, so
It was hard to
I
get.
hurt my toes.
I was thinking when you came out of there, that looked like it hurt.
And I got sunburnt, so really it was just a god awful time. I'll never do anything for charity again. I'm just kidding.
I just want to let everybody know that we made a deal that, she would get up in there, and I wanted a chance to dunk her.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't get it on the 3 shots I had with the ball, I was going to push the button.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to suggest that has to be the ace in the hole.
Right.
Because, if she's going to get in the dunk tank, she's got to get dunked.
I hit it on my 3rd try, though.
Nice.
So I was glad to
One
do
of
it.
the few, we only had a couple people hit. And, we had a lot of people try to dunk Gentry Parko because he's just so hated universally.
So, yeah, a good time out there at Foodstock, though. And
Wonderful time, great turnout, great dunk tank. No one wanted to dunk me. I think they just didn't want to see me suffer.
I did.
Maybe. I'm so universally liked.
I couldn't wait to dunk you.
He was the only one. I wasn't going to get in if it weren't for him because no one wanted to dunk me.
I made her get in there.
It's fantastic.
Yes,
He
I'm
did.
like, I am here for this. We got Levi Tucker of George's Pub and Grill in Jerseyville on Saturday. Behavior Intervention, who I went and seen after Food Stock down at Chico's last week.
I think that's my buddy Darren Lemire. I
It
teach
is.
with him at Alton Middle School. He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah, I grew up with Darren in the same neighborhood.
Very cool. He's
So,
a
yeah.
wonderful guy.
Yeah, so I got a chance to check them out. Roommate also playing at Grafton Pub on Saturday, and we got Rhonda Ray 7 to 9 at the Bloody Bucket Saloon in Grafton. Inappropriate Conduct 2 to 6 at the Hog Pit in Grafton. That features Lydia on kazoo.
Then accordion.
Inappropriate conduct does sound right up my alley.
Yeah.
Something I'm so commonly accused of.
Let's just hope that's the band's name and they're not just saying that's going to happen at that time.
Can't it be both?
Well,
Oh.
you never know.
We got the infamous Nectar scheduled to play
Oh, wow.
at the Wild E Theater
Very
in Edwardsville on Saturday, and Hops for Heroes benefit. That's a Veterans Honor Flight charity. And we got Blackwater Acoustic, the Harpers, H. Sammy Solo, the Vibe, and Everheart and Light, who are also out giving their time for food stock last Saturday.
Well, wonderful. Love to hear it.
And we talk to people all the time about how important music is around the Riverbend, around any area, because when it comes time to raise money for people, the bands donate their time, and a lot of money is raised for a lot of different charities, and a lot of fun is had while they're raising money.
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's a real important part there.
For sure.
So, yeah, we also got Pro Wrestling Epic at the Community Center in Warden. That ought to be a hoot.
I'll be participating in that as
You
well.
will?
Yeah, I'll be going to that one.
Do they have a sumo weight class? I'm on for it. I'm ready.
When Lydia was very young, we thought she was about to get in the ring one time when we actually went to see wrestling. Do you
I
remember
did.
that?
Well, my dad got in the ring and he arm wrestled that dude.
What was you yelling at some wrestler about being Cyndi Lauper or something like
Cindy, one of them was like doing drag of Cyndi Lauper, I think.
that? Is that what it was?
Something like that. I don't know.
I was just amazed that you knew who Cyndi Lauper was.
Yes.
Of course, I'm niche like
Gold
that.
star. That's
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you.
It's impressive.
We are talking to the Joe Hicks Group. That's a name for now. It may change in the future to just Joe Hicks Ensemble or Joe Hicks Trio or
Joe and the Hick Tones.
whoever
That's that-
shows
yeah,
up
that's what we're
and
going for.
how about whoever shows up and jams with Joe Hicks?
Yeah. Little jam band.
Joe Hicks and friend.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just one guy.
You can't call him your friend if you pay him to be there. That's not how it works.
Wait,
No, no.
people are getting paid?
Oh, sorry, it's the other way around. Jarden's paying you to be there.
Yeah.
You guys are playing Rock the Hops on August 8th, which is probably the biggest all-original festival in our area.
For sure.
And I'm sure there's something in St. Louis that might reach out to that. But really, I mean, for what it brings to the table, I don't think there's another festival like
No,
Rock the Hops.
No, I don't think so. And what a neat thing, too, because one of the things as musicians, we obviously have our things that we love. And, like, I'm obsessed with the rock band Chicago. Love that group. Like, I know their whole discography. I could recite it forwards and backwards. But it's hard to break in, or I think it's harder to break in and play originals than it is to just be a cover band.
I agree.
Because you'll get the crowd, it's like, we don't know that song. It's like, just bear with me. Like, so what a neat opportunity for all the local artists to get a chance to do things like that. I mean, I wish there was more of that sort of thing, especially in the AI age where somebody can click a button on a computer and write a song. I'm doing air quotes, people listening right now, because it's not writing a song, in my opinion. But it's so important that we keep that alive.
I agree.
And keep people keeping their voice out there, for sure.
So that's our number 2 thing. Number 1, we do benefits if we're trying to figure out which guest to have, right? Number 2, original music.
Very cool.
We all did original music, and we know how difficult it is to get people to get out and see original music. For me, it's the best thing to see. And I'm excited about August 8th and Rock the Hops, where you're going to be able to see, I don't know, it's like 28, 30 bands, you know, and skip from venue to venue. And, you know, so, and I believe there's still some tickets available. I was going to check. I'm not a beer drinker. You guys like beer?
No.
I'm not a drinker.
Me either. But that's the other part of the event that they offer free tasting of all these fancy brews, I guess.
Which you're still 19, 20? You just turned 20.
I just turned 20.
Turned 20 a little bit, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on him to make sure he doesn't break the law.
And you know how it is, being a musician. Someone's going to walk up to you and say, "Hey, can I get you a drink?"
Yep. And my response is always, only if it's a Mr. Pibb, man.
That's your
I
go-to.
got to drive home.
Yeah, I'm with you. And plus, for me, being intoxicated and trying to play music, way more difficult.
I have a hard enough
I
time
wouldn't know.
sober.
So much more fun.
So
I'd imagine I'd probably sound a little bit better to myself if I was drunk, but I don't think the audience would feel that way. So-
But when we go back and talk about the roots of jazz music, that was a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
there
Especially the ganja. Yeah. Right? So,
Oh, yeah.
Their footsteps. I'm
There were
guessing.
some, serious demon struggles that some of the jazz musicians struggled with. One of the stories I tell people to scare them off drugs is Charlie Parker, probably the greatest jazz musician to ever live, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
So he died very young. He was 35, just a little bit older than me. But the coroner estimated his age at 60.
wow.
That was how badly he struggled. I think heroin was his vice. Chet Baker was a brilliant trumpet player. He was so out of his mind, he walked right off a balcony and fell to his death. So there's a number of just horribly preventable tragedies. Not to shame people either. That's not what I'm saying either. But it's just a shame that they felt the need to do those things because they're what they added to the zeitgeist was so profound, I think, without having to abuse those substances.
Well, it's something I think about quite a bit because I've seen a lot of my friends go through that and go through, unfortunately, taking themselves out. It's such an up and down emotional roller coaster you're on as a musician. One night you might play in front of 200 people.
Right.
The next night 5 people.
Right.
And trying to figure out what happened why wasn't there 200 people again here tonight?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just a huge struggle.
Yeah, there's that one picture of the Beatles right before they got big, and it's like a gym that they're playing in, and there's like 7 people in the audience, and it's like literally a couple weeks before they went huge. So it just goes to show you, and you're exactly right, the ups and downs, and it's like, well, this was a great gig tonight, so the next one's going to be fantastic. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, nobody showed. And it's tough. It's tough to battle the things that impact your self-image with that, or just your self-confidence, your self-worth. And one of the things I tell all my students too is to separate your self-worth from your success as a musician, because we're so much more than just, and like in my case, a trumpet player, Joe. He's so much more than just a piano player. Is he a fantastic piano and bass player? Absolutely. But if you took that away, he'd still be Joe, and he'd still be a great guy. So that's one of the things that I think is a passable guy. He's shrugging at me right now.
6 or 7? We're doing 6 or 7?
This is all really subjective. I'd like to not use as factual language.
We'll use Lydia as an example right now.
Well, now that, I mean.
This is the best example we could use, because she's so much more than just being a flute player, or a saxophone player, or things like that.
Accordion
Just
player.
Kazoo,
Washboard.
right? The spoons. But anyway, not to get on a soapbox, but I do think that's a pitfall, and I know I've struggled with it too, is feeling like less of a person because maybe I didn't play as well as I wanted to.
Yeah, that's another part of it.
Or things like that, for
Nothing
sure.
like a wrong note to send you on a ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the thing, my co-teacher, Kenny King, has a brilliant analogy. He talks about baseball players compared to musicians. Because if a baseball player, ball player is hitting 900, 9 out of 10 at bats, he's the best baseball player that's ever lived ever.
For
no
sure.
question.
That's never happened.
Right. Now let's do the comparison the other way. You're a musician, and most really good ball players are probably hitting 250 to 300, right? 3 out of every 10, they're getting a hit. So as a musician, if I miss 7 out of every 10 notes,
Ooh.
I'm getting booed off the stage really, really quick. Now, am I saying musicians matter more than athletes? No, but the point I'm making is people hold musicians to incredibly high standards.
Yeah.
And so that is just, I think, a really great way to illustrate that point, that the audience is much more likely to remember the one bum note than 500 really good ones.
That's why I never let myself hit more than 3 out of 10 notes correctly. Every wrong note was on purpose. I was just keeping myself humble.
Good.
As per
okay.
usual.
You know, there's a market out there for that, though. I
Yeah.
personally
I found
do love like dissonant, odd, mixed notes
Yeah.
that aren't
Yeah.
supposed to go together.
Sometimes that can be a really cool effect, no doubt about
yeah.
that.
That's why I do it.
Edgar Perez comes to mind. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to him,
Heard the name.
but it was Frank Zappa's favorite composer.
That'll
Oh,
do
wow.
it.
So you can imagine.
Yeah.
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 And you know, there's some punk bands that play some bad notes that are
Oh yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool to
Yeah.
listen to. So
For sure.
yeah.
The
So
Joe Hicks Group.
that's a great
Yeah,
thing about
that's-
music,
yeah.
though, is you
So
can
subjective.
yeah
Yeah.
enjoy whatever you like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so right now we're talking to the Joe Hicks Group. We're just about out of time, but I want to remind you guys to get out to Rock the Hops on August 8th, specifically to the Post Commons. You remember what time you guys are playing?
4:15, I think I'm playing that. Don't quote me on that. Let me check.
Who's going to
This
check his
guy.
notes?
We're professionals.
We're
around here.
professionals.
See that? I should have brought the note too, but I didn't.
I gotta go on Facebook. I forgot.
I thought Lydia would have it, and she bailed.
You know what? I wasn't even sure what Joe was playing. I didn't know if he was on bass or French horn. He could have been playing anything.
French horn would have been cool.
That would be.
I don't think he's ever played French horn, has he?
He has actually.
He actually
yes,
has,
yeah, the
okay.
high school
Sadly,
band.
That's
what
I
needed
know
a
Joe
French
Hicks
horn
from.
player,
Okay.
and he picked up the horn, and he has what's called perfect pitch, so you can just know what a
Me
note
too.
he's supposed to play without any reference. And you need a good ear to play French horn, and he did a great job with it. He was
Way to go,
I don't
Joe.
know about all that. But
well, you were kind of thrown into the proverbial deep end of the pool. That's not an
Yeah.
easy instrument to get started on,
That's
but he
true.
did a fine job.
You're
with
so
that.
much like young Sheldon.
Thanks, I guess.
He has the bow tie on and everything.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
what I'm going for. Yeah.
Were you
Sheldon
right?
Lee Cooper, you dog.
Yeah, 4:15. Yep, that's what we're going to play.
Okay.
And then we end at about 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you only have 45 minutes free that day, that's the
Pop
time
out,
you need to
man.
pop out.
Pop out.
You guys are in the coffee shop. They do coffee there
They
still,
do
right?
good.
Oh, yeah.
They
And
have
Good
that.
News
They
Brewing?
have pizza now, right?
Good sourdough pizzas.
yeah,
I
they got
recommend the
that.
cheese bread. Talk to Austin and Christian, my best friends.
Nice.
Well,
Okay.
we'll
Wood
do.
fire pizza.
Yes.
Right?
That sounds good.
Yep, wood fire. It's wonderful. I really love Good News Brewing. I'm a big fan. They let me wipe down the tables sometimes, and it's always a
Oh,
fun
wow.
time. Yeah, it's a good time.
Do you get paid for that, or do you just like to do it for the character building? Or?
They let me pick what movie is playing on the TV,
Fair deal.
Oh,
No.
wow.
and
Say no more.
when I brought them cake, they brought me a knife to cut it. So
Oh wow.
it's. I mean, they really cherish me over there.
Sounds like it.
Part
yeah,
of the family.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's my family.
Well, Lydia, I want to thank you for getting the Joe Hicks Group to come in.
It was really
because-
hard. He wouldn't answer any. I'm calling him. He's teaching middle schoolers. I don't even
Yeah.
know what he's doing.
Yep.
It would have been easier to just get. I should have just gone
Yeah, you
through
should
this
have just
guy.
hit up. Yeah.
I just didn't. I didn't think he was in the group because I assumed if he was, it would be called the Chris Jarden group. But
No, my
I
name
was-
drives people
I was
away.
wrong to assume there. I should not have made that assumption.
You are too humble, Chris. Your name draws people. I'm
You're
pretty sure.
very kind to say that. Thank you,
Yes.
and thank you so much for having us today. This was super
Yeah,
fun.
very nice.
I usually have people talking over me when I talk about music, like in my day job. So I was unfiltered, and you gave me a platform to just ramble. So I
he's
appreciate
ever
that
wanted.
greatly. Exactly.
All he's ever
No,
wanted.
my ego is sky high right now,
Yeah.
folks. This
The
is
two biggest narcissists right next to me. I'm terrified.
Well, anytime you want to come back, Chris, Lydia, not
Not
so
Joe.
much. But
Okay. Yeah.
I
Neither of us
knew she was
actually.
going there. I wanted to beat her to the punch.
but just the joy to talk music with you, and thank you so much for having us. For
Yeah,
for sure.
And Joe, you can come back. Don't listen
Oh.
to Lydia.
Thank you.
He's lying.
That
Yeah.
means a lot.
You have to
Soon
bring
as-
Charlie.
Oh, I'll bring Charlie. Yeah, I'll bring Charlie.
Charlie Hicks, my favorite Hicks, arguably.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know.
Where does
Charlie.
Joe rank on? You know
So I would say like all of the Hicks, all the extended family.
Family
we've got
pets?
like, well, okay, Thelma and Louise top easily.
Have you met the
easily.
new ones?
The puppies.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of them. I was wondering. I'm sorry, you are not the father. Thelma and Louise are not. They're not the mothers
Yep.
to those puppies.
Why
right?
you say that?
I don't want to say color, but I mean,
Yikes.
Okay, they're golden retrievers. Why do they have black lab puppies? Where did they come from?
They're yellow labs.
Caroline's sending me pictures of random dogs.
No, I'm serious.
She's sending me pictures of random puppies.
My
and
mom
saying
texts
they're
you?
Brianna, but we're
Oh.
one entity.
Oh,
You know how it is.
Okay, yeah.
We're
I
one
see.
being. We're combined, like that one movie Together. I don't know if you've seen that.
What, Freaky Friday?
No, it's called Together.
Mm.
No, never seen that.
And we like melt into each other. Anyway, your mom's lying to my face, so
Yep, maybe.
probably runs in the
we were
family.
having such a nice time too.
Yeah.
Took such a dark turn.
Ruined it all.
Yeah.
Those Hicks just keep lying to me.
As soon as I thanked everybody for their time,
feel
it's
my
just
wrath.
Yeah.
spiraled.
It's
Things
over.
are about to get evil.
Hey, Chris, I forgot to ask you about the Billy Joel
Oh, yeah.
tribute, the date on that.
Yes, I believe it is the 29th, the same
Oh,
as
okay.
the Jazz and Wine.
Okay.
But yeah, so that'll be a great show. Billy will open for Elton that night. So we'll do our Billy Joel songs first, then we'll go right into Elton John
Okay.
after that. But Chesterfield Amphitheater, it's a great group of musicians, wonderful people.
Yep.
It's a super fun time, great venue. So if you're free on that night and aren't able to go to the Jazz and Wine Festival, you should go to Chesterfield Amphitheater instead.
And I got to ask you, Joe, have you ever thought about dueling with your piano? Was that as popular?
Was this
No,
the
I
heavy hitting
I
question?
do like normal dueling instead.
Oh, I forgot the
yeah.
heavy hitting
Sword
question.
fighting?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I
so,
was gonna say I don't know if we ever
so-
got to it.
so my big question was, penguins.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
I don't know. I don't really like penguins too much.
Oh my
But
god.
I've seen stuff all over your page about penguins.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So I'm trying to figure out what's the connection with Joe Hicks and penguins.
He's what you would call a LARPer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't
performative is what I would call him. He's appealing to the penguin group, and he's not
Okay.
even.
I didn't know about these penguins.
Why do you
You're
not like
the one
penguins?
posting them.
I'm just not a big, I'm not really into birds per se. I'm not.
Okay.
But penguins
Okay,
are the
so-
best.
I don't like Happy Feet. Maybe that's the most.
Okay, but what about
I
Surf's
think
Up?
I'm out of the band now. I'm sorry.
All right,
but
Happy
like- I
Feet's
can't
one
handle
thing,
this
but
negativity.
what about Surf's Up?
I'm cool with Surf's
Arguably
Up.
the much better version of Happy Feet.
You got John Cena in there.
I
That's
know.
my goat right there.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
my
and I've been
biggest
compared to
influence.
him a lot.
Really?
Physically, yeah.
Physically, I don't know about that.
Hair, stature, all of that.
Can you lift the Big Show?
Yeah.
Really?
Always.
You remind me of more like the Great Khali.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
You want
that's
to
what-
elaborate?
No.
No, okay,
No,
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of your vibe,
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Speaking of dueling, afterwards,
Okay.
yeah, things are
Okay.
gonna get evil.
Oh, can I plug one thing?
Yeah.
Saturday night, I'm playing at Evangeline's with the Cordell Hill Trio. Pop out. It's gonna be real good. We got a couple guests coming in 7 to 11. Evangeline St. Louis.
Yeah.
Please pop out. It's gonna be fun.
All right. Appreciate that.
No problem.
I can tell you don't mind crossing the river.
Oh no, I go to St. Louis more than I go to Alton nowadays.
He swims across. You gonna come
I
visit me?
swim. I'm swim more. Yeah.
You gonna come visit me? And Gabe Futhy?
You guys going to? Oh no, I don't.
Yeah, I'm going to watch you.
Oh, you're going to watch you?
Obviously, made it in full ride.
Full ride, really?
Yes. Clearly.
No, you're smart enough. I can. You got that big brain there, man.
Obviously. Just so intellectual.
Big reader.
Yes, of course. You ever heard of Heated Rivalry?
I'm not really
Always.
into that one.
Oh. Okay.
I wrote a song about penguins.
Thought you was
Really?
gonna say Heated Rivalry.
I did. We'll
Can you
just
sing
leave
it?
it at that.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
All right.
actually about Antarctica
Oh, okay.
and why people go there
Mr. Beast went there.
Why do people go there?
to feed the penguins,
Oh,
obviously.
I didn't know that.
Has nothing to do with what's under Antarctica or
Oh.
why the Nazis went there or any of that stuff.
I've seen enough Indiana Jones.
like the
I know
end
what
of
you're
the
talking about.
It's a huge conspiracy. What's going on in Antarctica, and it's nothing more than they're feeding the penguins. I mean,
I see. I didn't know that.
yeah. I mean, that's a perfect reason for Buzz Aldrin to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And John Kerry
Yeah.
and the Orthodox Pope,
Oh wow,
they've all been there
that's
just
crazy.
for penguins. That's why I thought maybe you'd been to Antarctica. I didn't.
No, I'm not. Never been there. One day, hopefully.
One day.
I gotta figure it out.
You
It's a
know,
long walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
do you know,
Alexis won't get you there.
do you know which band has played on every continent, including Antarctica?
I don't know that.
Is it Rush?
No, they're kind of bigger than Rush now.
Oh wow.
Is it Joe Hicks Group?
It's a metal band.
Metallica.
There you go.
Nice.
Wow.
Who were they playing to? Mr. Beast.
Yeah,
Was there.
there were some
They're playing for the Penguins.
Exactly. That's why everyone goes there. Come on. All right, so we've rambled on.
Yes, we have.
We're talking about August 8th. Get out to Rock the Hops. Check out the Joe Hicks Group.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it'll be inside.
Yes.
With
Yeah.
this heat.
Good News Brewing,
I love
also
good news
known as
brewing.
Post Commons.
Yes, all of the above.
The old post office. People that are older know what is that.
Okay.
And Lydia, will you be there?
I'll probably be at Good News to say hi to Austin. I don't know his last name. I would never pay for a ticket, though. So
Oh, okay.
if Joe wants to buy my way in, he's welcome
You
to.
don't need tickets. Only if you drink.
Yeah.
Everything's free.
Well, why else would I go?
Aren't you also 20?
There we go.
I'm 18.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Barely freshly, by like a week. So, not quite
You
that.
really said that in front of your former middle school teacher.
Yeah, I mean, who pushed me to it?
All right, so that's a wrap. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Houp Music Company, Mr. Matt Van Force of Macias Insurance, and the Mill. Events. We're on August 15th. You can check out King of Pain, a police tribute band. And Lydia, do you remember how to wrap this show up?
Whatever you guys do, just make sure you get out and support local music and art.